Hey, folks, and welcome back to Glenn and Adrian's Rock Talk. That's Adrian.
And that's Glenn.
And today we're going to take a look at something special. We're going to have a room full of drummers. A room full of girl drummers, as a matter of fact, I believe. So all women, all young women who are inspired by The Warning. And they're going to be playing Hell You Call a Dream in unison. That is to say, together in this big room. It should be a thunderous noise. I just love the idea that maybe The Warning is inspiring a new crop of potentially rock artists, but really just musicians, people that play musical instruments. These days, I will settle for that, and I'll be very happy. Although, rock and roll, always a great bonus. This came from something called Drum Camp. It happened August 23rd and 24th in Pachuca of this year, so it's very recent. Adrian, any thoughts ahead before we look at this?
I'm just wondering what it's going to sound like. How many drummers are we talking about?
We'll find out in a moment. I'm not sure.
1 million, I guess, right?
Yeah, 1 million drummers, yeah. So let's check it out and we'll discuss afterwards.
All right.
Darle un fuerte aplauso primero a la actividad, por favor.
Well, that was cool. A little bit offbeat. No pun intended, but pretty cool. I could not get a lock on how many drummers there were. There were some drummers that were only shown for split seconds that did not show up in the... there was kind of the main shot, which had 4 drummers in front of us, and then they kind of would go off to the left once in a while, and there was like 2 or 3 more over there. And I know that there were some others over on the other side, but we didn't really get shots of them. So it could have been as many as a dozen drummers, anywhere between, I would say, 8 and 12, somewhere in there.
I counted at least 7.
Yeah, and like I said, there were some that only showed up a couple of times, like that, pretty much. But what a great exercise.
Yeah.
Really love that idea.
Crunch, 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 crunch.
Yeah, and you have to wonder how many might not have picked up the drumsticks if it hadn't been for the warning. Certainly as one of the bands. Now, I know that it's drum camp, so I don't know what other bands there are that might have inspired them. I'm sure there are plenty, but just the fact that this is in Mexico, Ciudad de Mexico, and that the Warning are kind of the predominant rock band right now of modern times in Mexico, so it makes you wonder. A
bunch of drummers all doing the exact same thing. Sounds like heaven in this hell you call a dream.
Well put. Yeah, sounds pretty epic too that way. You know what it reminded me of? Back in the 90s, there was this band in Boston called the Concussion Ensemble. They had 3 drummers right up front. Everybody else was behind them. I think there were still maybe other percussion players, but there was also a bass player and a guitarist. I think that was it. It was mostly drummers, and the drummers had center stage and right up front. And that was a thunderous noise that was not unlike what we just heard there.
Yeah, it seems you could get a similar sound effect from a couple of pedals, say chorus, phase, and delay, but this is so much better and so much more fun.
Yeah, I'm not so sure you could, really, because they all had different energy. They didn't play exactly the same thing all the time. Much of it they did. But yeah, I was hearing slightly different fills here and there. And also depending on the drum kit that they had. They all had different drum kits. Some had very sparse kits with thin drums. There was one 3-piece in there I saw. A lot of them were set up just the way Pow does, with the 2 smaller toms right up front, right in front of her, and then a floor tom over here. That was interesting. That made me think, yeah, maybe the Warning is one of the predominant influences here. With luck, some of those players will show up in a band, and we will be seeing them on the channel someday.
I'm just thinking people should do this stuff all the time.
Yeah, it's good for you. I think music happens to be a good, healthy activity. It's good for your brain as well as, peace of mind. And it's somewhat exercise, too. If you've ever looked at Pow, she's pretty ripped. She makes sure she's in shape so she can play those drums, and it makes a difference. If anybody out there knows any of these drummers and can give the story of how this came about and whether or not they are personal fans of the Warning or not, let us know, because we're always interested in those details. Heck, if you're watching this and you were one of the drummers, speak up below. We'd like to hear it from you. And in the meantime, folks, if you have other suggestions, by all means, leave them below as well. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. And if you enjoyed the presentation, please subscribe. All right, thanks so much for joining us today. We will catch you on the next one. Take care, folks.
See you all later.